G'day and welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I want to do a video on tumbling bullets. Well, I suppose a little bit of tumbling bullets. I've been through on videos on transonic zones, on bullet stability and that side of things. The understanding that a target bullet / projectile, whatever you want to call it, has an RPM, so a rotation speed of 200 to 300,000 RPM in general in a precision bullet, precision round, precision rifle, and they have a huge amount of gyroscopic force, so it's far rarer the issues that people think are going to happen in the way of transonic zones or tumbling bullets and that sort of stuff than it may appear, and with something we run into very, very, very little. So I've been through that sort of stuff and there's videos on that. This one's actually about the comment that I hear too commonly, which is they will be shooting at 3,000 yards, let's say. That's sort of a pretty common sort of place for us to be out at where we get this sort of comment, and it's a 2 MOA group, I suppose, 1 MOA to 2 MOA group in there, which means it doesn't even need to hit the target. We can just miss in the target and have a 1 MOA group when we've got a 24-inch target out there. And people saying, oh, so were the bullets tumbling? Or the bullets must have been tumbling at that point. Now maybe they're just saying that it lost stability and that made it a little bit inaccurate because there's a little bit of logic there. Not much, but a little bit of logic there. But the tumbling thing, listen, I'd say think about it. And I suppose I'll explain. I'd like to encourage people to be a little more pragmatic and think about things in a logical sense, but I'll go through and explain this in a bit more detail. I think the problem or the thought comes from, for most of us being around firearms, then you've been at a range and a lot of the stuff is done in normal target range and that sort of stuff, whether it's handguns or cowboy action or whatever it is, but closer range shooting. In whatever form that is, and that's the 10 yards to 25 yards to 50 yards sort of stuff out to 100 yards, and that's where they do most of their shooting. Well, they've done at least some of it. And it's not uncommon, if you've been in that place, there you'll be, you can look at targets, paper targets at 25 yards, and with some combinations see a sideways bullet hole, or a group of them. And listen, that's going to be about the combination. It was the wrong bullet for the barrel, there's something going on. The bullet was, some of the cast bullets you see are just inherently terribly designed and don't work for that combination, and we've all seen it to one degree or another. The trick there is that at that 10 yards, 25 yards, even out to probably 100 yards, you're getting a bit far out there, but in that closer stuff, you can see a group that was bigger than the group would have been, but of sideways holes in the target where the projectile's gone through sideways. And they're all on target. So I think the inherent thought is, okay, they were tumbling and they got on the target. So at 3,000 yards, we're seeing the same thing. Well, this is where the think about it bit comes into it. For a projectile to get to 3,000 yards and get there with any accuracy, a lot needs to be going really well. Like I said, 200 to 300,000 RPM. Extreme precision in how the rifle, how the platform, how the shoot, everything has to work really well to get out there with any form of accuracy. So you see a 2 MOA group, even a 5 MOA group, your conditions are probably what's pushing around. There's a lot of time. There's 5 seconds to 7 seconds to 8 seconds to 10 seconds, depends on what this round is, what this firearm setup is, for that projectile to get out there. That's a lot of time for wind to push things around. So up to 5 MOA is just not that much. A 5 mile an hour difference wind, then you've got that sort of difference or more. So from one shot to another to see that sort of difference, that's not uncommon. More to the point, I would put the hat on the other, or look from the other side and go, how do they get there that accurate anyway? How on earth do we take a hole in a piece of steel and an explosion and fire a hunk of metal down it, and it is that accurate? It's, you know, in some senses, mind-numbing to think how that's even conceivable, how that can be so consistent. It can be, but when it opens up, and you can, with the right conditions and the right circumstances and maybe a stroke of luck, that you can get a nice little group on a 24-inch plate out there. Little group, if you hit that 24-inch plate 3 times in a row, walk away, you've done really well. I suppose that's what I'm saying. But to look at it and see it not on the plate all the time and to think, oh, the bullets must have been tumbling. No. If those bullets are tumbling, they won't get near target. Not even vaguely close to near target. Probably 1,000 to 1,200 yards away from target is where they'll land. The moment a projectile does start to tumble, it loses all efficiency. It's no longer traveling neatly through the air where it's got very low drag, it's got all the gyroscopic stability and all that sort of stuff. All that's gone. It's turned into a tumbling football. So it just went from a trajectory that's going to be long and flat to a whoop trajectory where it just fell over. Even if that started the transonic zone, something that's pretty rare, but out of those sort of distance, nothing is carrying stability. Nothing is it's supersonic. Where it went subsonic is going to be somewhere between halfway and 2/3 of the way there, or 1/3 to 2/3 of the way there. So it's still got 1,000 yards of travel where it's going to zip off at a ridiculous speed away from and not going out to where the target is, and certainly not with any accuracy. And even if you're just talking about something that lost a little bit of stability and that changed its trajectory because of it, even that, it's got too far to go to have any sort of accuracy around it. So the conditions are going to be what open it up. The actual tumbling bullet, no. And I suppose I'd point that to a different level of we've actually been through the process of trying to run bullets or projectiles that couldn't go through that transonic zone or had other issues dealing with fluid dynamics of subsonic travel. Or projectiles that have struggled with barrels that have been beating them up too much, so they've got some deformation in them and that caused them to change their flight path or tumble. We don't know. And the reason I say we don't know is I've actually been to the point of listening to our GoPros out at target to try and find shots that didn't show up. Just see if we could just hear them, see how close they were. And the majority of when that happens, and I had one not that long ago where it would fire 5 shots, it was good, and then 1 shot would just not be there. Nice and clean and safe and nothing around us to be concerned of there. Did it 3 times. Once, did that really happen? 3 shots later, what's going on? Just do 1 more shot, happened again, okay, we'll stop. We listened to the camera, couldn't even hear where the projectiles landed. There was no sound of the bullet traveling, or the bullet hitting the ground, I should say. You could hear the report of the rifle, but no sound. What would have been happening in that situation is the projectiles were being distorted in that barrel with what we figured out because it was too long with too much twist. They were being distorted, so they lost their either their stability because of their change of shape, or they lost their efficiency, but they didn't even get close to the same spot. So the comment of, were those bullets tumbling? My honest answer, without being too facetious, is think about it. But the actual answer is no. If they were even close to target in ELR, the projectile was working really, really well. It was doing its job really thoroughly. There's other things going on. Probably the wind, probably just some erratic wind in the different levels of height that the bullet has to travel through, to the ground wind, to all the different winds across that length of a shot. So the conditions are what it's about. Tumbling, no, it's not. Anyway, guys, that was my little rant for today. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you next time.